Welcome back, everybody. We have some news. We're going to try to go ahead and knock this out so we can get into our topic at hand. And that news is we have a bit of rebranded. As you may or may not know, this is my original 2008 channel that I relaunched not too long ago, maybe a couple months ago, with the Guild Wars Reforged, which I'm very much happy with that game. Still, I've started me a Iron Man / hardcore character. I want to talk more about that later, but that's not the point of this video. It was Noob Zero Gaming, as most of you may know if you've watched those videos or even see the channel. Some of the older videos are still titled Noob Zero Gaming. Now, with that being said, Noob Zero Gaming was me at 2008, so I was 18 at the time. Vastly different place in my life when I'm 18 compared to now when we're going forward with the new rebrand. And as you know, with the Reforged episode, we launched it with, it was called World Debuff Nerfed at Birth. That was the podcast title. Well, going forward, the channel name itself will be World Debuff. I was extremely happy with that name. Kept kicking it around in my head. I think it encapsulates perfectly what I'm trying to convey, which is the MMO RPG gaming news and discussions, rather than gameplay strictly channel. That I felt like Noob Zero Gaming was about these Let's Plays, which we will still do Let's Plays from time to time, but that's not the main focus of the channel. The main focus will be just talking about games, because I love to talk about games, and unfortunately I don't have much time to play games like I used to, which I have an episode of Patch Notes and Trauma coming up. We're going to go over that, but something else happened, something much bigger happened here recently, so we're going to get right into that. So if you're new here, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube bullshit that you want, that we have to obligated to say to you, but realistically I don't care. But if you want to subscribe, and if you're returning, welcome back. So what was the biggest news to happen in the MMO sphere today? I think it happened today. It is Ashes of Creation. So that gives us a big question then. We have to ask, what happens when an MMO that has spent almost a decade in development, guys, decade in development, gets backed by millions of fans. We even hit early access, which that should have been a sign, I think. And then, unfortunately, just weeks later, it implodes. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to talk about the implosion of Ashes of Creation and the situation around Stephen Sheriff and what's going on with Intrepid. So just a little brief history. At some point in its development cycle, Ashes of Creation was, I think it was fully funded, but as we know, MMOs are expensive, and as the scope probably grew higher and higher, at some point, Stephen had to go find outside investments, which you cannot blame the guy. He had already put millions of his own financial backing into Ashes of Creation at this point. And in order to do that, you had to get independent investors, which makes a board of directors to say they're going to have their own interest in your game. And just today or yesterday, Stephen and Intrepid kind of were basically, I don't know if it was leaked or what happened, but we found out there's going to be massive layoffs at the company. That's the studio behind the Ashes of Creation. They were hit with a warrant at notice. It was filed, which made some senior developers leave. It impacted the entire team, and I think as a result, Stephen Sharif has resigned in his post as the founder and creative director, stepping away from the project under controversial circumstances. Now, we do not have the official reason why. We just have a statement from Stephen where he basically said that the board was kind of wrestling some creative control from him. I think he actually lost control of some key decisions in the development of the game, and they were just asking, I guess, some things of him he felt were unethical, that he was not too fond of, and he refused to do. So he decided for the betterment of the project that he was going to just quit, basically walk away from something he devoted, like I said, decades of his life to try to get made. And I don't know if we will ever find out what those key reasonings were. I hope we do. I have some ideas that maybe it was like, this is just hearsay. This is not me knowing anything. This is just me guessing, just from looking at the game and some of the things around the game that maybe he wasn't okay with. Like maybe the Steam launch itself wasn't something he's okay with. That was more the board saying, hey, you need to launch this on Steam. We need to get an influx of money going into this game. Now, again, I don't know if this was the reasoning, but if I look at the Steam launch, and stuff around the Steam launch, like the launcher, it didn't launch through Steam. Obviously, it has an independent launcher. This is not nothing new. We've seen this in other games to have their own little launchers, but the launcher didn't really work. It wasn't really well integrated with Steam, so I don't know if that was just a like a rush job to get it on Steam because they said, "Hey, we need this on Steam, and I need you to do it." And again, I don't know. I don't know if it was some key design decisions. Maybe they was wanting to flip. Like I know they're pitching this game as like a hardcore PVX experience, and maybe they weren't happy with that PVX. Maybe they didn't think it was going to appeal to a broad audience enough to support an MMO. Again, I don't know. I could see that happening, and they's like, maybe we need to go more theme park. Maybe we need more eyes on this. Maybe this is something that they was trying to get Steven to change, and he had a hard line stance on this to make this more old school feeling, old school, new school, as I called it, because I did play Ashes of Creation, and that was kind of my biggest takeaway. Like, I loved what I played, but I knew it wasn't going to be for me. Like, in the future, I wasn't going to be a Ashes of Creation player, because honestly, the game wasn't for me. I don't like that heavy emphasis on PVX, that forced kind of PvP stuff. Not really for me, but that is not to take away from what the team did. The team actually had a good blueprint for a MMO, a good bones to the MMO, and I think the people who like those games would have really gravitated towards that experience, because it was kind of a new school, old school experience. Again, I don't know if that's something that they actually wanted him to shift away from, but I could see that being a hiccup as far as a mass appeal type of game and bringing in a larger audience, I will say, because you see it with like this is just leaping out here to kind of see it with like the Mortar Online game. It has this audience, like it's got a niche audience, but it's not like this huge audience. And I know that's like a hardcore loot PvP, two different games, but it's got a heavy emphasis on PvP, whereas this also has a heavy emphasis on PvP. And I have nothing against that. I'm a Black Desert enjoyer. I like that too. And it's got an emphasis, like in game, is kind of the PvP. But when I compare that experience to Ashes, the gameplay in BDO is more fun for me to engage with, more so than the gameplay I was having in Ashes, because it was tab targeting and all that good stuff. But again, this is not a crap on Ashes. I thought Ashes was going to be a really good staple in the MMO field, because I mean, I'm the first to tell you, the MMO genre is one of my favorite genres. I think I've interacted with. Even though I'm more of a solo player now, I do enjoy jumping in these games, having all this big community around you, and just kind of getting to play with other players when I wanted to. I didn't really get that in Ashes because it was more of a party-based game, which I did. I was fortunate enough to have some friends to play it, and it was a great game as far as if you had a party, and if I had like a good group of friends that I liked that would play that long term, that would be like a mainstay MMO. And just because it was so much that was already there, like the world was beautiful. I enjoyed exploring the world. I enjoyed I enjoyed the combat. Like, it wasn't that, like I was saying, it wasn't Black Desert, but the PVE combat, like the moment to moment gameplay with the combat, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It took me back to a little simpler time. I enjoyed the multi-classing was really cool. I liked how they did that, and it kind of you could kind of make these, I guess, these advanced archetype builds. Like, you could make that paladin, you could make that cleric, You could make a battle mage if you wanted to. I played a summoner. I love my summoner. He was fun to play. And I'm not normally a summoner guy. I'm normally the big sword go bonk. That's my guy, what I normally hit. But you know what? I played the summoner. I had fun with the summoner. But there was things about it that I could see maybe that wasn't his decisions. This is another one that I've noticed when I was playing. Someone who's played before the Steam launch let me know, but I did notice in the early access they were selling like cosmetics and like skins for mounts and things like that. Was that always there? Was that something that the team that y'all could say that they decided to do, or during those expensive days, like when you had to pay like $100 something to get into the game, was that always there, or did that come a little bit later? How did that play out? Because I'm not 100% sure, because I wasn't there until Steam, and unfortunately, I've been, I kind of feel like it was a rug pull, but at the same time, I get it's not. I don't think it was anyway. I hope it wasn't, because I would really hope that they didn't launch it on Steam, hopefully just to get some money and then to F off. I I only say that because I've heard that before. I've heard that, because this is just breaking. And you do will have that inside, like deep down, you'll feel it. But I do want to play a devil's advocate with myself as I said that, and really thinking about it. Steven, he put a lot of his money into this game, and I don't think it was a rug pull. I think maybe it was more of a last ditch effort to try to save the game. Um, but I feel like it might have hurt it more than it helped it, because it did show how early the game still was in development after 13 years. And I know 13 years sounds like a very long time, and it is a long time for like a development cycle, but it's an MMO. I don't know, maybe the scope got too big. Maybe if we would have reined in the scope a little bit and actually got a game launched a little sooner, and then you could start adding to it. I'm not a developer, obviously, but this just hurts, man. Like, I really hate that this is actually happening to this development team, because they were very talented. That was obvious from the get go. These were people who were passionate about the MMO genre themselves, and you could tell it in the game that was there. And I was really like, after playing, actually getting to play it, for a while, I think it was a running meme that, like, yeah, this is the MMO version of like Star Citizen. It's never coming out. It's never coming out. But then when you get to play it, you've seen the bones there, and like, okay, yeah, this could actually come out. Like, I could see this coming out. I thought there was at least a solid, like, like a third. Now I would give it like a 50 over 55% chance of this game making it out if you would have asked me whenever I played it, that initial launch window of Steam. And boy, was I wrong. I did not see this coming. I mean, you couple this with the announcement New World is shutting down next January, like officially be dead. It's like we just lost like two MMOs. Like, New World, I feel like was a big MMO, or is a big MMO in my opinion. Amazon, I pulling too early on that. I feel like you could save that game, but it is what it is. And then you lose this one. So what do we got? What are we really left with? I mean, we just continuously can only flock to games that's already been there, like World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy 14. Uh, I play BDO. It's not like a huge community, but I feel the game is still fairly healthy. You have old school RuneScape. We still got it running, but basically the point is all we have is these old games we've always been with, and that's the point of an MMO. I get it. Like, you want your audience to always be there, but these games are so old. I feel like the tech has left them. Like, there's such a large generational gap between when these games were made to what the technology is now. So when I go back and play like Final Fantasy 14, which was probably my favorite MMO in the last, I don't know, years, like last 10 years, I guess, like last 10 years, you go back and play it, it just feels dated. Like, the combat feels dated. It's slow. I still don't think the combat's great. It's the ratting fell off. Honestly, the reason we play Final Fantasy, honestly, is for the story of Final Fantasy. And 14, the ratting has fallen off, in my opinion. So I have no reason to go play 14. I'm playing Classic WoW. I like Classic WoW. That's a fun one, but At the same time, look how old Classic WoW is. I don't really play retail WoW. I'm thinking about trying it again, maybe. ESO, it lost me. I don't like the combat in ESO. I can't stand the combat. Guild Wars 2 is still running strong. That's my dog. I love Guild Wars 2. Nothing but love for you, Guild Wars 2. But it's not a game for everybody. Some people just like the big number go up even bigger, and you don't really get that in Guild Wars 2 after a certain point because it's horizontal. So eventually you kind of stagnate. If you can't make your own fun, you won't have fun with Guild Wars 2, in my opinion. Um, let's see. I don't really know what else. Lord of the Rings online, I guess it's pretty good. I can try it out. What I played of it's been fun. People tell me to try it and play it, so I might give it a go. And maybe we'll do a little gameplay segment on Lord of the Rings online. How fun is it? What do we think about it? Who knows? Because Ashes, yeah, with Ashes dying, I kind of worry. I really kind of worry with the future of the genre. I don't know if I ain't gonna say we're not gonna say the MMO genre is dead because we do still have some. I guess we still have some games in development. We have the Riot MMO, which is what is going on with the Riot MMO exactly. We don't know. Uh, Man, I hope we hear something good from it because this is bad. This is bad news. This is just bad news for the genre as a whole. So, what do you guys think really happened? What do you think was going on behind the scenes uh, that could have caused this? Because did have that early access drop, um, but was the early access drop a last ditch effort, or was it the board trying to rectify some money, or maybe they dropped the early access, and then all this happened because obviously the team didn't know this was coming. Like the team did not know this was coming because we got like a pseudo little roadmap coming up. We were supposed to get some news. I think February the 13th was it? Let's say it February 13th. It was here early February. We were supposed to get some more news about the future of the game, and instead, apparently, February 2nd, as of tomorrow, I think it's over with. Or maybe that was when the Warren Act was supposed to hit, was February 2nd, because I've actually had to go through this before with a company where you hit the Warren Act, you get a notice, and I think we got like, was it 60 days notice before our company was shuttered and shut down. So maybe it was supposed to drop tomorrow, is when everybody was supposed to know about the Warren Act. But I don't know, because if it wasn't, then they would have known about the Warren Act before the Steam access launch, because I think you get like 2 months. Because with my manufacturing company, when we got shut down that I was working for, we got, I think it was 2 months of pay. There wasn't much work going on, so they just told us to stay home, and we all got paid. It was kind of sweet, but it sucked that we also didn't have a job. But we were very fortunate because they did work with the local hiring boards, like the job boards, which I've read that they're not actually going to do for the effective developers here. So that kind of sucks for them. I wish the developers well. I don't know what's going to be the future of the IP. I'm sure it's not going to disappear. Maybe it'll be relaunched under a new name. I'm not sure. I mean, but without Steven, it would even have the same heart. Would anybody even want to play it? Because I'm pretty sure Steven Inc.'s not going to have the IP anymore. It's probably going to the board. I don't know the arrangements they have. But yeah, man, I don't know. This kind of sucks. I don't know if we're gonna get refunds for us on Steam. Or are they going to refund our money with this, or are we just going to be stuck with the game that we probably can't play? I mean, because I guess they could say it was early access, and this is the nature of the beast. Which it was always kind of weird branding. They branded it early access, even though we knew it was like an alpha. So I don't know. I don't know if Steam should have allowed the early. I don't think Steam should have allowed that to even launch, because this is kind of bad for us on the consumer side. Like, I get it from the business side, but you also have to look at this from the consumer side. So I don't know what we're gonna do. Even if we could get refunds, who's gonna fit the bill on those refunds? Those refunds. That's kind of where we at with that. I've heard some rumblings of a class action lawsuit. I hope not, because you would be suing the development team. I guess would that be Intrepid? And I don't really think this was their call. Obviously this is the boards. I mean, this is just one of those things that just suck, man. Like, I don't know. Like, what do I don't? I guess we'll find out more in the coming weeks, hopefully. Um, I do have much respect. I do got respect right now. I'm looking on the positive. I respect what Steven is doing. I want to make that clear. Steven Sharif, if I doubt this video ever finds you, but if it does, I do respect what you're doing. Just stepping down too. Very rare you see that. I'm assuming since you're stepping down, maybe you had the option to continue on with whatever they were going to do after the layoffs. I'm not sure, but the way it read, your statement read, I'm going to go with your side of it, and it sounds like you're standing really with your team and taking your time to just go away too. Like, because it sounds like you're not giving them your creative input anymore. Like, they were going to shutter a lot of people on your team that you felt, I'm assuming, real close with. Like, y'all been working together for like I said, like 13 years, and y'all seem like a very close studio. So, yeah, props to you with that. Like, um, I'm hoping this you all come out on the other side of this in a better place. Hope you all find the jobs. You're all very talented, so I'm sure there's a lot of studios out there that needs like your talent, because we've been getting a lot of some stinkers out there. So I don't know. Maybe you can make a new studio, or maybe I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that. That would be tough, wouldn't it? That would be tough, like, to make a whole new studio after all this. But let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Like, talking to you guys, like, this is the reality of our modern MMOs. It's just the longer the dev cycle, the higher the expectations, and the harder the fall. And the longer these games take to make, the more likely they're going to fail, because here in the U.S., the cost to make these games is astronomically different than, like, say, in an Asia country. Like, what these developers are getting paid, which I'm not saying they get paid too much. It just costs more to make the games here in the U.S. than it does, like, say, Tencent can make a game in China. So, with that being said, making an MMO, as we said, is very expensive. The developers are making a lot of money, which is a lot of money to us, but I'm sure, with the cost of living and all that. I think it was based in California. California has a high cost of living, so they have probably a much higher pay, a much higher wage also to develop in California, which puts more strain on the development cost of the game to make an already costly endeavor in the MMO genre to be even more costly. So I think that's probably the biggest factor of why this is just me talking now. This could change in the future, but that's just how I'm looking at it. That's probably the biggest factor into some of the changes that I guarantee you that the investors will want to push to get a better ROI than on what they've already put into the game, was probably to do some stuff that Steven didn't feel like the game needed. This could have been like battle passes. Could have been like weird little more microtransactions, which honestly, with a game like what I played in Ashes of Creation, if that was the push they were making, that's a good call to not to do that, because the game's was not really established. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but this does hurt. To the point, like, to the level of, like, my favorite genre just kind of lost another game. And yeah, this, like, I don't know, man. It makes me feel kind of like WildStar when we lost WildStar. That was such a good game. And this is going to be another one. And I fear that we're going to have a couple more in the future that's going to be shut down. There's some that's on live support. And I don't know, man. But hey, thank you guys for watching. This is World Debuff. We were debuffed at birth. We try to heal by honesty. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Patch Notes and Trauma. Please hit the subscribe button and I plan to see you guys hopefully in the coming weeks. We got some more to talk about. I got some more episodes coming up, and drop below what you think about Ashes of Creation and all this drama. What do you guys think was the cause of this? There's 100 million reasons why this could have happened. And it sucks. Like I say, it does suck. It does suck a lot. Please, don't bash the developers. Reach out to them. Give them well wishes, and if got any connections, send them their way, because this is a talented group of people. And as always, guys, you guys stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one.